Dinar shift. The current moment within the global currency community holds a weight of expectation that is almost unprecedented, carrying a resonance that suggests a major financial development may be unfolding. For those who have been observing the processes involving the Iraqi dinar, IQD, and the Vietnamese dong, VND, the atmosphere is charged with a quiet but powerful energy, driven by reports of movement behind the heavily guarded doors of international finance. Imagine the significance of receiving a single, specific notification that represents the culmination of years of study, patience, and unwavering belief in the eventual realization of a major economic shift. This potential for life-altering change is precisely what is being discussed today, rooted in claims that the critical step known as Tier 4B notification is actively being executed. The sheer magnitude of this claim, that a historic process is moving from expectation to execution right now, demands the full attention of everyone tracking this unique journey. The landscape of information related to these currencies has transformed drastically over the past few days, moving away from the usual flow of commentary and speculation. Seasoned observers are noting a distinct and synchronized shift towards silence among sources who were previously open with their insights and observations. Contacts within the banking sector, accustomed to sharing small verifiable clues, are reportedly going dark, and the communities that typically engage in open discussion have suddenly implemented strict lockdown protocols. For those familiar with the operational rhythm of this specialized financial space, this abrupt withdrawal of public communication is often interpreted as one of the most reliable indicators that sensitive, real-world events are underway, and that confidentiality agreements, non-disclosure agreements, or NDAs, have been universally activated. This controlled silence is not an accident. It points toward final system checks, internal examinations, and the quiet, methodical movement of sensitive updates through officially sanctioned channels. This pervasive silence is now overlaid with a new and compelling set of claims suggesting that the crucial authorization codes for Tier 4 billions notifications have begun deployment across specific geographic regions. This development is allegedly correlating with unusual and deliberate activity being observed at various banking institutions. Reports detail late-night adjustments to internal systems, rigorous testing of account verification protocols, and, in some instances, the fleeting appearance of new exchange rate placeholders on internal screens before their immediate disappearance. We must emphasize that these are currently unconfirmed reports from the community, and they do not constitute official timelines or verifiable confirmations. However, the collective mood and the nature of the reported activities have a different feel than mere random chatter. Those who have navigated this space for years recognize the difference between ordinary noise and organized, authentic movement, and the alignment of these multiple indicators suggests a coordinated, larger event is in progress. To fully grasp the gravity of this reported activity, it is vital to clearly define the structure believed to govern this global currency adjustment. This process is widely understood by community insiders to be structured in carefully controlled phases, commonly known as tiers. The initial phase, Tier 1, is generally believed to grant access to sovereign governments and the highest-level international financial institutions. Tier 2 follows, encompassing major global corporations, large-scale humanitarian programs, and other massive private sector entities. The third tier, Tier 3, typically includes clients with established connections, private placement groups, and structured specialized financial agreements. These three stages pave the way for the critical fourth tier, which represents the public release, subdivided into the crucial segment known as Tier 4 billions. Tier 4 billions is a designation of paramount importance to our viewing community, as it is understood to include the vast collective of individuals who have diligently followed the progress of the IQD and VND for years. This group is composed of people who have dedicated time to studying the complex process, monitoring financial signals, and learning the requisite steps, long before the broader public became aware of the potential for a monetary shift. The Tier 4 billions group is frequently referred to as the informed internet community, those who actively track intelligence, news, and major developments related to the financial landscapes of Iraq, Vietnam, and the overall global currency environment. Therefore, any claim that the codes enabling Tier 4 billions access are rolling out is immensely specific. It suggests that the alleged process has advanced to what many believe is the final major step before a widespread public announcement. This places the current moment in a truly significant context for those who have invested their time and attention in this journey. A central point of discussion surrounding the recent claims is the perceived shock surrounding the timing of this alleged development. For many months, the general consensus within the community leaned toward a later expectation, perhaps not until the next fiscal cycle, or after specific international budgets and national reforms had been completely settled and implemented. The current reports of sudden, accelerated movement, however, indicate a faster pace than nearly all analysts had predicted. The reason for this unexpected wave of activity appears to be the near-perfect alignment and convergence of several distinct major financial and governmental events occurring simultaneously on the world stage. This synchronization has created an atmosphere of surprise and focused intensity. This convergence is based on a number of key governmental actions reported over the past period. Iraq has been consistently working toward the finalization and implementation of significant budget adjustments and reforms aimed at strengthening its financial sovereignty. Concurrently, the US Treasury has reportedly completed a complex series of synchronization tasks spanning multiple international banking regions, a crucial step for global financial integration. At the same time, Vietnam has been quietly but actively updating its digital financial architecture and central banking frameworks, positioning its economy for modern global trade. The simultaneous finalization of these independent yet related events is highly unusual and suggests a level of careful coordination. This striking convergence of major national and international financial events, all aligning at the same critical juncture, is what makes the additional claim regarding the movement of Tier 4 billions codes so impactful. It is the timing, precision, and deliberate nature of these synchronized activities that has surprised many in the community. It strongly implies meticulous coordination, a carefully pre-planned sequence of actions, and intentional executive-level deployment by the various financial institutions and authorities involved. The feeling within the observing community is that this is not a random occurrence, but rather a structured and deliberate action that is in perfect alignment with a much larger coordinated global financial strategy. The sheer professionalism of the alleged sequence is compelling. Delving into the practical mechanisms, it is important to understand how the process of system activation works and why the mention of codes going live captures so much attention. When internal sources refer to Tier 4 billions codes as active or rolling out, they are describing a highly secure and structured series of authorization steps that essentially grant permission for the next phase of currency exchanges or redemptions to commence. These codes are complex systemic triggers, far beyond simple access numbers, controlled by central banking networks, financial authorities, specialized redemption centers, and powerful treasury servers. Their activation is the signal for centers to begin scheduling appointments. The functionality of these codes is comprehensive, covering all logistical and security requirements necessary for a mass financial event. Upon activation, authorized exchange and redemption centers receive immediate internal confirmation. This confirmation verifies that all necessary staff are fully prepared and available, that all layers of security are active and robust, that internal digital systems are displaying the correct internal currency values, and that every aspect of regulatory compliance has been approved. This entire activation sequence is, by design, intended to be silent and completely invisible to the public in order to maintain security and control over the process. However, while the core activation remains invisible, the operational ripples it creates are the indicators that alert the observant community: the sudden and absolute silence from previously talkative sources, the unusual yet specific activities reported at banks, and the dramatic shift in communication tone are all telltale signs that a profound change has occurred behind the curtain of the global financial system. According to the claims, these specific ripples are currently being detected across the entire network, providing the key signal that the long-awaited process has shifted from preparation to execution. The evidence of disruption is what gives credence to the claims of code activation. At the heart of this entire movement lies the Iraqi Dinar IQD, which has been the primary focal point for global currency watchers for many years. Iraq's financial infrastructure has undergone an immensely difficult and lengthy rebuilding process in the wake of prolonged conflict and instability. Over the past decade, the nation has worked diligently to strengthen its currency reserves, significantly expand its international trade alliances, implement necessary measures to curb corruption within key systems, and modernize its electronic financial platforms. These steps have been crucial for aligning Iraq with modern international monetary standards. The Central Bank of Iraq has been consistently and actively laying the groundwork for a major monetary transition. This comprehensive preparatory work has involved extensive digital modernization projects, significant improvements in cross-border settlement capabilities, and careful alignment of national budgets to support an internationally recognized and appropriately valued currency. In recent times, official statements emerging from Iraq have increasingly indicated that their multi-year monetary reform project has reached its final, critical phase, a stage that inherently includes adjusting the external value of the dinar to accurately reflect Iraq's immense underlying economic strength. when the official statements regarding Iraq's final phase reforms are considered alongside the very current specific claims about the deployment of Tier 4 billions codes. The resulting picture becomes extraordinarily difficult to dismiss. If the notifications codes are genuinely in motion, it suggests a profound operational readiness on the part of the Iraqi currency. These financial and systemic events are known to unfold in a strict and methodical order, never out of sequence. The alleged shift being reported today fits perfectly into the final expected sequence of events, reinforcing the narrative of an imminent, orchestrated change in the dinar's official status. The focus on the Iraqi dinar carries with it significant emotional weight for many individuals who have followed this narrative. The IQD has long been maintained at an artificially suppressed value, a direct consequence of decades of conflict, international sanctions, and subsequent economic setbacks. Iraq is by all economic measures one of the most resource-rich nations on the planet, possessing vast oil reserves, rapidly expanding trade potential, significant gold holdings, and continuously improving political stability. Yet, its currency's valuation has never fully reflected this substantial underlying economic reality. Despite the history of suppression behind the public view, Iraq has been meticulously constructing one of the most stable and robust financial foundations in the Middle Eastern region. This quiet, persistent groundwork is why the current update, if accurate, is viewed as being profoundly significant. If the new internal rate indicators being circulated by some sources prove to be true, it would signal the moment the IQD finally transitions into its true international market value. Claims suggest that certain bank systems are registering early internal rate indicators showing the dinar at a valuation of multiple dollars per unit. If substantiated, such indicators would be nothing short of a historic turning point, signifying not only a new financial era for the nation of Iraq, but a life-changing event for the currency holders who maintained their confidence throughout the nation's most difficult years. Turning now to the Vietnamese dong VND, we look at a nation that has quietly and strategically emerged as one of the most dynamic and fastest-growing economies in all of Asia. While much of the global currency community's focus has been intensely concentrated on Iraq, Vietnam has been executing its own disciplined financial evolution plan, largely outside of the main spotlight. The nation has undertaken extensive upgrades to its core banking systems, consistently increased its vast manufacturing output and global export capabilities, secured advantageous and stronger international trade agreements, and implemented new, comprehensive digital frameworks for modern financial oversight. Many financial analysts believe that Vietnam's economy is fundamentally overdue for a currency correction, a revaluation that would more accurately reflect its burgeoning economic power and global manufacturing presence. Now, according to the alignment indicated by the current reports, Vietnam appears to be synchronizing its financial timing with Iraq's movements more closely than virtually anyone had anticipated. Internal test environments are allegedly displaying pre-screen indicators showing the value of the dong rising, potentially reaching a valuation higher than previous expert estimations. If these reports hold true, the VND could deliver a profound financial impact that might surprise many who had initially focused their expectations solely on the dinar. Vietnam operates as a major global exporter, a massive manufacturing powerhouse, and a rising economic force on the global stage. From an economic perspective, a stronger currency is not only justifiable but a natural and expected outcome of its sustained growth and development. The precise and quiet timing of Vietnam's long-term preparations strongly suggests a deliberate, methodical synchronization of its national monetary steps with the broader, evolving global financial architecture. This coordination underscores the idea of a comprehensive two-nation financial event. Looking ahead, should these reports prove to be accurate, the immediate future is expected to unfold in a series of highly structured phases over the next several days. The very first stage involves final internal banking confirmations. This encompasses last-minute server tests, critical rate visibility checks across all operational regions, regional verification spanning multiple global time zones, and the absolute assurance that all funds are fully positioned and ready to handle the required liquidity events. This stage is focused entirely on systemic and operational readiness. Following this necessary operational finalization, the Tier 4 billions notifications would then begin to be systematically dispatched through a limited number of trusted and secure channels. These include private, verified lists, email addresses that have historically been linked to official, secure updates, and specialized groups that have been quietly prepared for this precise moment. These are not general announcements. They are expected to be structured, official messages that provide precise instructions on the process of scheduling appointments, specifying required verification documentation, and detailing the exact steps for account verification, From the moment these first structured notifications are received, the scheduling of private appointments would commence, starting with the most prepared groups and then systematically expanding outward. Once this scheduling phase is officially underway, the entire process is expected to accelerate significantly. Centers will likely operate at high capacity. Individuals will move quickly through the verification steps, and the whole sequence will enter a new high-speed gear. Should these projected steps align with reality, the financial world may be standing at the threshold of one of the most impactful and significant financial restructuring events in modern global history. Beyond the technical procedures and specific financial steps, the global implications of a significant revaluation of both the IQD and the VND are far-reaching. Such a simultaneous financial event would not only dramatically alter the lives of the individual currency holders, but would also immediately and fundamentally shift the economic dynamics across both the Middle East and Asia. Iraq's substantially strengthened financial position would enable a significant expansion of its regional and global influence, accelerate critical infrastructure development, provide stable support to global energy markets, and stabilize its long-term national budget planning simultaneously. Vietnam would gain access to dramatically increased purchasing power on the international stage, become significantly more attractive for foreign direct investment, and see the value of its massive manufacturing exports increase. Nations connected to both Iraq and Vietnam through essential trade agreements would experience ripple effects from having two much stronger, financially stable partners. Banking sectors worldwide would observe new, significant liquidity flows entering the system, and global markets would necessarily begin a rebalancing process to adjust to the new currency realities. This event is far greater than a mere currency adjustment. It represents a major geopolitical and economic milestone. For many of you who are watching this broadcast, the human and emotional dimension of this prolonged journey is as profound as the financial potential itself. You have steadfastly held onto your currency and your belief through years of intense public skepticism, harsh criticism, and an endless cycle of changing timelines, disappearing sources, and alternating periods of rising hope and crushing disappointment. Yet your commitment remained, rooted in the core belief that one day the global community would acknowledge the economic reality you had identified. Seeing these new specific signs appear now suggests that the moment you dedicated yourself to is finally drawing near. The sheer emotional weight of this persistence cannot be overstated. You did not abandon the path. You maintained a long-term course, carefully navigated the years of doubt, and remained focused on the underlying facts of the economic situation. It is that dedicated persistence and sustained focus that has brought you to this critical juncture. Now, as the various global signals appear to align in a synchronized manner, the patient belief held by this community may be on the verge of being rewarded in a way that is expected to revolutionize not only individual lives, but also the philanthropic and community-focused visions many have planned to support. As the situation enters this alleged new phase, it is absolutely essential to pivot the focus entirely toward practical and organized preparation. If the reports of notifications beginning to roll out are accurate, the individuals who are the most organized and prepared will be the ones who navigate the process with the greatest efficiency and the fewest challenges. It is paramount that all personal identification documents are in immediate readiness. This includes government-issued IDs, current passports, and any other documentation that will be required for official verification during the appointment process. Now is the time to review and solidify your personal exchange strategy, making any necessary notes or creating a consolidated plan. Ensure that all critical documents and information are organized and kept in one secure location. Taking these proactive steps will ensure that when the official structured message arrives, you are ready to act immediately and avoid any last-minute scrambling or confusion. The general expectation is that this process will move with great speed once the initial gates are opened, and preparedness is the key to a successful experience. The currency community is now entering a phase that many are calling the intense, final calm before the storm. In this particular context, however, the impending storm is being described as the breakthrough event, the powerful, positive culmination that has been anticipated for years. Everything currently being reported signals synchronized timing, methodical alignment, and decisive movement from financial authorities. If the claims about Tier 4 billions codes are substantiated, it signifies that the critical gates are opening quietly, precisely, and methodically, exactly in line with the expected final phase of this long-running global process. As we bring this extended special broadcast to a close, the final message is one of grounded focus. You have come too far in this dedicated journey to allow doubt or distraction to take hold now. The current signals are reported as being strong. The convergence of international events appears to be aligned. The unique energy surrounding the IQD and VND news is noticeably different. Whether this day ultimately proves to be the definitive starting line or just the critical turning point leading into the final stage, one factor remains absolutely clear. A truly historic financial development appears to be unfolding right now. Remain focused, stay grounded in your preparation, and stand ready, because this may well be the moment for which you have been preparing for all these years.